As diplomacy sputters over Crimea, violence erupts. Here, pro-Russian gunmen attack a foreign journalist who tried to film them. One of the masked men points a gun to his head. And here, a clash between pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian mobs ends with a violent beating. Across Crimea, the Russian intervention looks more and more like a military takeover. Two scuttled Russian warships now trap the bulk of the Ukrainian Navy. And Ukrainian officials say some 30,000 Russian troops are on the ground, above the 25,000 limit under Russia's treaties with Ukraine.
It's less important the number than it is what they're doing. So we're much more concerned about the activities, blocking off Ukrainian naval bases by sinking patrol boats into the waterways and essentially establishing operational control of the Crimea.
The U.S. has repeatedly demanded Russia pull its troops back to their bases, but they are still patrolling sovereign Ukrainian territory. And Western military observers attempting to monitor the situation were blocked from Crimea by pro-Russian gunmen for the third straight day.
Russia is fairly isolated here. Our preference here is not to keep hyping up sanctions. Our preference here is to find an end to this conflict that's happening through engagement, through discussion.
Those discussions remain at a stalemate. A 60-minute phone call between President Obama and President Putin, visiting the Sochi Paralympics, revealed continuing divisions over the state of play. And a call between Secretary Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov ended with this stark warning from Lavrov. U.S. sanctions against Moscow would, quote, hit the United States like a boomerang. Now, with the referendum in Crimea for greater integration with Moscow looming next weekend, some see a win-win for Russia.
Both options benefit Russia. One of them is a very independent, autonomous region within Russia with heavy, Russian ties and influence. And the other one's an outright annexation. So he's already set the goalposts pretty far down the field.
Either way, he wins.
Yeah.
On the political front, two more potentially damaging developments. The Russian parliament voting to endorse next weekend's referendum in Crimea on a closer association with Russia, or even outright secession from Ukraine. The Russian parliament also approving a proposal to make it easier for Ukrainian citizens of Russian descent to apply for Russian nationality, which could further inflame those ethnic tensions inside Ukraine. Jim Sciutto, CNN, Washington.